Hello, Karasaki here, Wake Up New Zealand. Well, it's the first time I'd ever heard of this terminology called nudging, nudge theory. And it's very interesting. I laughed at first about it, but then I realized after a bit of research, really it's nothing to laugh about. So when you think of the word nudge, you think of those other words that sort of relate to that, like shove, push, jab, nudge, to push in another direction, to give a push of some sort. So nudging is used politically, economically, and within society. So, and environmentally as well. And there are connotations around this when used politically, economically, and environmentally. So it's purposely used to cover up what are really coercions. So this is about reinforcing certain behaviours demanded by politicians, environmentalists, etc., etc., so that citizens become compliant. So nudging is used on a massive scale, of course. 2019 partnership of the UN World Economic Forum represented a world of stakeholder capitalism to destroy free market economy. So there is still a massive amount of nudging going on to re-engineer society and people's behaviors to another marketplace where corporations, big companies are in control, where small businesses and farming communities are destroyed. And this is all about nudging the shift from the old normal to the new normal. So the influencing of digital AI nudging. Yes, digital AI nudging, where now we have water has now become an algorithm on the stock market worldwide. This is all about investments by large, wealthy companies, corporations to control water. So water is more like gold now. The prices go up and down, and they determine when it does through data in and data out. And the data in and data out is the nudge theory, the nudge, push and shove. So influencing people by using this sort of practice. So global national media, propaganda machine, nudging, influencing people's minds by text, audio, visual, whatever they can, images. So nudging people away from eating meat by putting up large, colourful posters of fruit and vegetables. The global shapers, the puppets of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab's, they have gone worldwide, and what they do is part of what they do is to find ways to actually deter people from eating meat. That's one of those things they do, where they advise restaurants to use menus in a way that meat is replaced by plant-based food, plant-based fake meat. And that is what they're doing. And there's thousands of these global shapers, young people right across the world who have never experienced life itself to the full, determine your life and your diet and the way you live. And it's all about lining the pockets of multi-stakeholder corporations that already have the wealth, the most wealth in the world. They are billionaires. So digital algorithms, nudging, connected to socialism and Marxism, influencing mindsets to believe in this promised wonderful world of utopia, this socialist Marxist wonderful world of utopia. So it's a Marxist methodology, focusing on individual behaviour in predictive ways by nudging historical events to inevitable change. And that's what Marx tried to do, replacing fact with fiction, with theory, with data in and data out. Predictiveness. So this is about indirect suggestions influencing people to change their mindset, to comply with political compliances, enforcements and reinforcements. So in 2008, a book was authored by Richard Thaler and Sunstein of University of Chicago. And that book was called Nudge, Improving Decisions About Health, Wealth and Happiness. Well, much more has happened. He's a behavioural economist, and he distributed that book worldwide, even gained attention by governments, UN, WF, organisations, NGOs, academia, etc. So what is said that this is cheap to implement, and it can be done very fast by triggering people's old behaviour into a new normal. So Three Waters had Purpura nudging predictiveness by saying populations are going up and that citizens will pay less for tax. By text, they deliver this message. That's the nudge to get the community to jump on board with Three Waters. So Ardern influencing citizens' behaviours with public speeches. I am kind, a team of 5 million, no one is safe till everyone is safe. If you haven't had the jab, the COVID-19 is searching for you. I won't actually, she did say I won't be putting more restrictions in after April. I believe it's April the 4th when the new rules come in. But she's still keeping a toolbox in case another variant arises. And when asked if she was going to actually, as flu cases increase, would she actually be putting in these restrictions again? She said no, but before she has indicated that she may use some of those from her toolbox to stop lots of hospital administrations, as the flu will be very, very big this year. There will be a lot of flu, she said. So she's influencing citizens into getting flu jabs by giving this sort of information. It's a nudge. And that's what she says. Even with this stay in your bubble message is a nudge to stay isolated, away from other people. And even to the point, she said, don't talk with your neighbour. So all those messages are nudges. So nudge, wink, wink, I'm kind. Liar, liar, pants on fire. And, you know, the traffic light system is all about increasing jabs and still targeting Mary and Pacifica because they haven't had enough jabs. So, and it's admitted by Michael Baker that the traffic light system is all about increasing jabs. And that's what it's about. So they use the traffic light system. So the British Parliament, I mean, this is not unofficial, it's official. This is not just hearsay. 2010, a nudge unit was set up by British Parliament and introduced the British Behavioural Insights Team. In 2012, New South Wales Australian Insights Team, government, New South Wales government introduced a nudge centre, a nudge unit. It was introduced by the New South Wales Australian Federal Government, and it was formed as BETA, B-E-T-A, Behavioural Economics Team. So in 2016, the whole of the Australian government took that on, and they had their nudge unit. 2020, Boris Johnson relied on nudge theory to fight COVID-19, nudging the public into a false sense of security. And Ardern has done just the same, using the propaganda machine, the big nudge, to influence New Zealanders' minds, especially when it came to those that were rallying in parliamentary grounds. The big nudge, where those people at this rally were actually character assassinated in all sorts of ways, demeaned. People who were suffering because they had lost their jobs, where people are being caused harm by this jab, which is a human experiment that people are demanded that they participate in. There were teachers, there were doctors, there were nurses, and they were demeaned. So the nudge theory certainly took place through the propaganda machine. So the nudge too from Mallard Duck, when he turned on the water sprinklers that soaked everything in parliamentary grounds, he got the nudge too, didn't he? You know, he was made to look like a feckin' useless idiot. So nudging citizens' behaviour, influencing people to destroy each other, and that's what identity politics is about. That's what critical race theory is about, being taught our children in schools through texts, images, audio, identity politics in schools. All nudge, 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 influencing people's minds, influencing children's minds. So, the traffic light system is a very strong nudge. So imagine the UN Global Compact, because all this is about the UN, the WEF, the multi-stakeholder corporation, replacing free market economy into a multi-stakeholder corporate marketplace. The big nudge nudge. New Zealand, the guinea pig state. The nudge nudge, WEF, World Economic Forum, with an agreement, New Zealand government reimagining AI for all New Zealanders. New Zealand, the guinea pig state. AI, data in, data out, influencing your mind, influencing government policies to influence your mind to be controlled by government because of AI, data in, data out. in, out, in, out. That's what it's all about. Hokey pokey. So I'd rather dance a hokey cokey than this bullshit. So 2018, April the 23rd, NHS in Great Britain, they brought in a traffic light system to decrease the hospitalisations around winter time, and they said it was very successful, and that's what they did. So they didn't want so many people in hospital. So they focused on the nudge theory, a cheap intervention, and that was developed by a behavioural insights team, a policy unit called the Nudge Unit. So New Zealanders, they're treated like public goods with no individual rights and a government and corporate culture. And they continue to subtly use what I call the nudge theory. But the nudge theory is a way that they really do control people. This is no joke. So AI algorithms on the global stock market, and this is for water. Water has changed to AI algorithms on the stock market. I asked you, more wealthy than gold, more valuable than gold. And it's doing very well, thank you. So what next? And what nudges do they use for that? Well, they say population increase, not enough water to go around, and that's what they're using. Right across the world, they're using population increase, where many countries, including New Zealand, the population is going down. And in some countries, the population is not rising enough to account for those that die. And that's how it's got. But it's still using this shit. There's always some sort of nudge to take us from an old normal, the traditional, into what is the new normal, to make 0.1% billionaires even more wealthier, to destroy farmers, to dumb down schooling, destroy businesses, all by controls. And the traffic light system should be gone for good. But what does Ardern say? No, not going for good. We might need that toolbox again soon, because if we have a new variant come along, and if the flu cases increase so much and there's hospitalizations and the hospital's overwhelmed with the flu, then she may need to use her toolbox. Nudge, nudge. Don't forget to get your flu vax. And nudge, nudge from me, do your research and see how good that flu jab is, because they change the ingredients every year. So do some research, people. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Wake up, New Zealand.